everyone, and welcome back to my true crime channel. I hope you're all well. Today I want to go back through the many inconsistencies that there are in Don and Candace's version of events of their daughter Summer Wells' disappearance. So there are so many things, especially from Don Wells, about his daughter's disappearance that don't add up. There's things from Candace as well, but especially Don, as you all know, guys, we hear from Don quite regularly on at least one YouTube channel that I can think of, although he's gone a bit quiet at the moment. I wonder why. So basically, what's been sticking in my mind at the moment is the fact that Don can't remember much about the day that his daughter disappears, which is quite convenient, really, isn't it? He pretty much said he thought he got home at about 5:30 on the day of Summer's disappearance in the evening, but it turns out it was more like 6:30. So, you could account for at least one, memory lapse, but the fact that he's had at least three, if not more, doesn't add up to me, raises more red flags for Don Wells, just when I thought not any more could be raised. So, first of all, he can't remember what time he got home. There's an hour discrepancy between the time he says and the time that he actually did get home. And then there's the fact that he told Chris from the interview room that his journey home took approximately 45 minutes. Then when recently on a YouTube channel that I'm sure you all know which one, he gave a live interview and claimed that after 25 minutes he got home. Not 45 minutes, 25 minutes. So again, why does everything he says change weeks down the line? Why is it that he's constantly trying to control the narrative of the story? And why does he keep lying? So I've said in a couple of my other recent videos that Don can't remember what time he got to work. So that's the third thing. And I suppose we could keep going and make it number 4. He thinks he might have stopped for breakfast, but he can't really remember. Now, I've said in the other videos I've done, so I won't try and keep repeating myself, but you'd remember that you stopped for breakfast. You might have forgotten what you eaten that day, but you'd remember if you did or you did not stop for breakfast. You'd pretty much have a rough idea in your mind what time you got to work. You'd have a pretty much rough idea in your mind what time you got home from work. So all these things that he says don't add up, and it's just more red flags for Don Wells. So speaking of Don Wells, hasn't Don gone quiet for the last couple of days, guys? I haven't seen him on Voices Behind the Walls YouTube channel. I'm sure you have seen him on there, guys, when he has appears. The interviews are always very interesting, very eye-opening. And as usual, more inconsistencies come out in Don's story, more lies and BS just flies out of the man's mouth. And he just raises red flags on a daily basis. It's really weird. I mean, God, all these claims of abuse that have come out, which I don't think are just claims. I know you have to say they're allegations, but let's face it, I think we all know they're likely to be true. I don't think that many women would come forward lying about things that Don has done to them in the past. I don't believe that. I know some people have commented on my videos saying that, it's too little too late and they should have come forward sooner and someone might not have gone missing. It's very difficult to speak out about abuse. Not everyone feels they can come forward. Sadly, people are made to feel shame and they shouldn't be. So I'm not having a go to people that want to question why these people have only just come forward, these women, especially as someone's been missing a couple of months. But, perhaps it took for Don Wells' stepsister Jeannie to speak out before these other women felt that they could do the same. So I have covered all of these allegations of abuse in a couple of videos on my channel this week, and sadly, as I've said in the other videos that I've done, I believe there are going to be many more than the number of women that we're already aware of. I think more are going to come out the woodworks, and it would seem that there were at least 2 people claiming these allegations, and at least 5 more came forward. At first, 3 people that had come forward, plus the 2 we already knew of, which made 5. But actually, there's actually been more than that. There are 5 that have come forward, plus the 2, so that makes 7. And apparently one of the 7 said that Don tried something, but I think it was obviously stopped, thank goodness. So I believe, but again, guys, don't quote me because I haven't got the facts written here in front of me, but I believe at least 6 women had something happen to them. Well, definitely from what we can gather here from the ones that have spoken out on the interview room channel. Don's stepsister Jeannie, we've obviously heard what she has to say, and from Trish as well. It's just so horrific. I can't believe all of these claims, although I shouldn't be shocked by what Don Wells does or his shady past. And let's face it, it's more than shady, it's bloody horrific what he's done. And when someone starts abusing at such a young age, they're not going to stop. They might stop. I'm not saying that every person that does that doesn't stop. Some people do redeem themselves finally, if you can call it that. But it makes you wonder, how long has he been doing it? Did it start even earlier in his life than we know of? And how many more victims could there be? And has he never stopped doing it? So there's something else that I've not spoken about recently. I did say that I was going to. I didn't want to make a whole video on it, but I thought I would go through it briefly. The claims of the screams. We've all heard them, and I haven't had time to put them into one of my videos yet this week, but I do want to speak to you about it today. I don't buy them either, like everybody else. I'm not saying that if a neighbour said it, they're lying, but I don't believe, seeing how far apart the Wells family home is from a near neighbour, that they'd hear a scream. It could travel. I'm not, the sound of the scream. I'm not saying it couldn't, but I'm not sure I buy that. And it seems weird that it's only really coming out now. Apparently Candace did mention it before, but it's not something that's constantly been mentioned. And if it was true, how come it's not been spoken of much more? So going back to the claims of the screams, obviously we can't rule it out. We weren't there. There could have been a scream coming from somewhere else. Maybe it was Summer's screams that the neighbour heard. We can't be sure, but the whole thing doesn't add up to me. I mean, it would definitely give the abduction theory, that abduction theory that the parents claim that I've never bought or believed, a lot more credence. It would make you think if Summer was heard screaming, she could have been being abducted. But if Summer was heard screaming, and this is true from one of the neighbours of the Wells family home, who's to say that she wasn't attacked by someone at that family home or had a tragic accident? And then there's the whole thing about the dogs. Well, I think it's 13 dogs. I don't think that includes puppies, although I could be wrong, because there were puppies, there were kittens, there were animals everywhere when Chris from the interview room interviewed Candace at the family home. I was quite shocked by the level of pets, although I love animals and I wish I could have that many, but I don't think I could handle that many. But I love cats and dogs, so I understand why they have pets. I personally did think, trying not to be too judgmental here, guys, that perhaps they had too many that they could cope with. But from what both of the parents have always said, Don and Candace, they're quite feral dogs. They come and go as they please. Some people have even just dumped them at the end of their drive and then they come and live there and go off and do their own thing. But we never heard at the start of this that the dogs were not on the property when Summer disappeared. So how come, in my opinion, we're only just hearing about it now? Yeah, I don't know if I buy it. Perhaps those dogs do act like a pack of dogs, a wild pack of dogs, and they go off into the woods. But seems convenient, a bit like Don not remembering what time he got to work, what time he got home, did he have breakfast, what car was he even in? Although I think he claims it was the red Subaru. But his inconsistencies of his story, of his account of what happened that day, with him pre-Summer going missing and after, doesn't add up. The story about the dogs doesn't add up. The whole story from Candace about the timeline at the watering hole, whether grandma did or didn't go down there, the fact they had to buy summer clothes, were they just buying summer clothes because it was something they needed to do, or had she had a tragic accident and needed to have her clothes changed? I mean, the whole video, I've mentioned it in a lot of my videos before, the video that was filmed maybe accidentally on the way back from the swimming hole, never sat well with me. I don't think Summer looks very well in the picture. I've always hoped that she wasn't deceased in the picture, but you can't be sure. A lot of people think she's just asleep. The sleeping on the milk bottles didn't add up to me. Candace even claimed in an interview that Summer didn't like being cold. So what was she doing sleeping against cold milk bottles? None of the story adds up. Nothing those two parents have ever said adds up for me. And I know a lot of you guys feel the same. And I just wonder, do the police suspect them? And when is this going to be solved? So there's a few other points that I just want to run through while I've been thinking of them all with you today, guys. About Summer's hair. Now, I know when we saw the first interview, there was definitely something wrong, and I said it in one of my very early videos on this case of Summer Wells. There was something wrong about what they said about her hair. They contradicted each other, Candace and Don, in that very first interview that we saw with the pair of them, and it was sort of made out that Candace had shaved her head, Summer felt left out, and wanted to shave her head. But then when Don spoke, he sort of said, it was to make her feel better. Well, feel better for what? Now, some people thought maybe she had head lice and that was why her head had been shaved. And I know some parents have done that. Most don't shave their child's hair off if they get head lice, even if they get it repeatedly. They try to use, a medicine, a medicine shampoo on their hair to try and get rid of it. They don't tend to shave their hair off. So I never bought the lice theory. I never thought my mum's got a skinhead, or you know, all her hair shaved off, so I want to be like my mum. When I was Summer's age, if my mum had shaved her hair off, I'm not sure I'd want to be the same, but then maybe I would have done at age 5. I certainly wouldn't have done when I was a teenage girl, so I can't be certain on that. Summer might have wanted to have the same hair as her mum. But I've been wondering now for quite a number of weeks, and it is very disturbing. Did Candace shave Summer's hair to stop her looking feminine, to stop her looking like the pretty little girl that she was, to stop her father doing something horrific? Now, obviously, guys, that's just speculation on my part. I don't have any proof that that's why her hair was shaved. I could be wrong, but that's never sat well with me, the fact that her hair was shaved. I know some little girls like to have short hair, but not normally that short, especially when you're 5, and she was such a pretty little thing, and she did have lovely hair. So I'm not judging people that have short hair. I know I've got very long hair, but it never added up, the story that the parents gave about her wanting to be like her mum, and then Don saying that she wanted to feel better. Well, feel better about what? You know, a lot of people thought that was from having head lice. She wanted to feel better because she'd had head lice. Well, none of those things have ever added up to me, and I do suspect now there could be a more sinister reason for Candace potentially choosing to shave Summer's hair. Well, anyway, guys, there's quite a variety of things that I've gone through in today's video. It's not just been about one subject. I've got so many things that are rolling around in my brain at the moment. I just wanted to spew them all out to you, see what you think. As always, guys, I want to hear your comments on this. I know I've gone through a lot, but what do you think about Summer's hair? Have you always believed that perhaps it was head lice, or that she just wanted to look like her mum with her short hair? Or do you think, like me, there could be something more sinister? Let's hope not. What do you think about Don? You know, about all the abuse claims. They're horrific. It's not nice. It's not good. I hope there aren't going to be any more, but sadly I do think there will be more. You know, I just think that they're going to keep coming out of the woodwork, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but I just mean I think more and more are going to come forward. More women are going to find the bravery and the courage that these other women have been able to find. And if there are more victims, I hope there aren't, but if there are, I really hope that they too find the courage to speak out. So other points, and I've gone through so many things here surrounding Summer's mysterious disappearance. It's hard to remember everything I've been yakking on about, but what do you think about Don's timeline of the day? Do you buy that he can't remember what time he got to work? Can't remember whether he did not have breakfast? Sorry guys, I get so perplexed by Don. He can't remember whether he got home at 5:30 or was it 6:30? He's just not sure. What do you think about the inconsistencies in his stories, especially that his work journey was 45 minutes? Apparently it's now 25. You know, do you think these are all lies like I do, or do you just think that someone could forget, genuinely forget? Personally, I don't. I feel that on the day of your daughter's disappearance, you'd remember everything that happened. You might not prior to knowing she disappeared, especially if you didn't have anything to do with her disappearance. But once you got that phone call from Candace to say she was missing, your brain would have gone into overdrive. You would have gone into fight or flight mode. You would be mentally scarred by the rest of that day. Now, maybe not the first part when you didn't know, apparently, that she was missing, but you definitely remember what time you got home. And I do really feel that if you get to work about the same time every day, roughly, you'd remember that as well. So none of that adds up to me. And as usual, guys, I want to know how you feel about it. Please keep telling me what you think. I love reading your thoughts and views on this case. I love that we all discuss it as a big true crime family. We all are respectful. Mostly. I know the odd person isn't, but most of you are wonderful. I love reading your comments, and thank you so much for all of the positive feedback that you've given me recently. It really gives me a boost, and it makes me feel so good about my channel, and it makes all the hard work that I do researching the cases and doing my filming and making my videos so worthwhile. Well, I said in one of my other videos, guys, I'm going to go back through the early interviews of the parents, see if I can pick out anything I've missed. I want to start looking at editing a video of clips of their early interviews just to show you the major red flags that were there at the beginning, and just go back into the beginning of this case and see if there's anything that we've all missed. Well, anyway, guys, I hope you're all well. I hope you're all safe. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of my new subscribers. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate all your wonderful comments. I really am so happy that you found my channel. And as always, guys, I'll be back very soon with another true crime video. Bye for now.